All right, let me start the record. Okay. It seems that we are ready to start. Okay. So, you are ready? Everyone see here? Please say yes. All right, great. So, I'm going to start, I'm going to start. Okay. All right. So, this time we are continue. Okay. The last time we started chapter 1, but we didn't finish it. So, we're going to continue chapter 1, and then we can move to the chapter 2 this time. Okay. And chapter 1, a very simple topic. Okay? We talked about that. Okay. Strategy management and what? Competitive advantage. Okay. And then we did one case. Okay. Then we discussed many topics. Okay. In chapter 1. And also we did some discussions, team discussions about the case, the chapter case, lens end, right? Lens end. All right, so we already discussed it. So we're gonna share, okay? I wanna share, okay, your discussions this time briefly, then we can move on, okay? So, lens end, okay. What was the case about? What was the story about? Anyone just started? What is the story about? Lens End.
So basically, it was about Land's End and how they were kind of struggling as a company, and then somebody new came in and made a whole bunch of new decisions, and it ultimately made them kind of, I don't want to say disappear, but it ruined the company basically.
All right, thank you, Erika. Erika, thank you. Actually, Lens End was my favorite company. Okay, 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And then I just realized the target markets are changing. Okay? So I didn't know why, but at that time, actually, there was some transition in this company. All right. So Lens End tried to change itself to be, a better company. But so Lens End, this company invite Miss Macchiari as a CEO and try to have a transition period. But it was not so successful. It was not so successful because they lost me. All right, they lost me. I was not, their customer anymore. So, okay. So the first question, all right, what actions could Ms. Macchiani have taken to improve lens and prospects for success in the marketplace? Okay. Anyone can start? The first question, what actions could Ms. Macchiani have taken to improve lens and prospects for success in the marketplace?
I think she could have taken smaller actions. It seemed to me like she really didn't really immerse herself in the culture of the company and surround herself with a good team of people who were familiar with the company.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if she had done that, then she could have potentially, kind of sat down and been like, okay, here's what we need to do. We can try to kind of change direction a little bit, but, not really do a 180, which is unfortunately what they did.
Good point. Good point, Forsam. Thank you. All right. Forsam, good point. It's really nice. Okay. So actually, Ms. Macchiani actually started with a small change because Lens End was a big company. So, it is very hard to change entirely. Okay. And hardware and software. Okay. So think about that. Their hardware, they are big, facilities, and they have a lot of networks. Okay. So it is not easy to change it. Okay. Make a change. Okay. And software too. Actually, software is more difficult to change. Okay. Think about that. Organizational culture. All right. Organizational culture. Okay. And their target markets. Okay? And how to change this is just immediately everything. Okay. In a short time. Probably it is very hard. Okay. So for some actually suggest that, all right, then we can change it slowly, one by one. It can be a stretch too. All right, great for some. All right, any other point? What actions? What actions could Miss McKinney have taken?
I think that she could have maybe spent more time in the home office. I think it said it was in Wisconsin. She was more familiar with like the New York City like fashion scene, from what the reading said. And her employees, I think, thought she was like distancing herself a little bit, which probably didn't make the other management, upper level management, feel too good, I guess. Maybe so she could have spent a little more time in the home office.
Okay, great. Good point. Good point. Okay. She could spend more time. She could spend more time in the home office, and she could be familiar with the current status. All right, the current status. That means environment, current environment for her. Okay, so the company, people, and culture, and some strategy, something like that. All right, she could be familiar with all of this. Okay, the first. All right, so that can be external environment for her. All right, then she becomes familiar with the external environment. Probably she could have a better strategy to make a change. Okay, I don't know which direction, but anyway, if she wants to have her own strategy, she should know, okay, where she is. All right. Okay. All right. Good point. Good point. Okay. All right. Any other point? Any other comment? All right. Any other comment? All right. So no comment on the first question. Okay. Probably in your case, is point out that she has some private bath, in her both office. Okay. So I just want to point out that this can be a reasonable for her perspective, but this is not reasonable for some others' perspective. Okay, so this is a sort of can be seen like a waste of the resource. Okay, for some people. All right, so this is the example of agency cost issue, agency cost problem. Okay, so probably agency problem, you should know this. You should learn this in your finance class before. Okay, in your finance class, probably you should talk about this agency cost. Agency cost, simply speaking, anyone knows that agency cost? What is the agency cost? Anyone? Agency cost. Agency problem. Probably in your finance class, you should learn this.
Is that the internal company expenses?
Internal company expenses. Yes, it's a sort of the expense issue. Okay. Any other agency cost, agency problem? Okay. So agency cost means there are some principals and agencies in the company, right? Principals what? Stock owners. Stock owners are the owner of the company, right? So the principals. Okay. Then some management groups are agencies. Okay, they are agents. Okay? Agents. Okay. So usually we see a lot of examples that the agents, okay, management groups, actually they are interested in their own interest, their own sake, okay, rather than the benefit of stockholders in many cases. Okay, so they spend a lot of money to for themselves, not the company itself. Okay, something like the private bath. Okay, so point out in this case. Okay? So there is a cost. Okay, which is always which is the created by the in the fact that the corporation is not operated by principals, operated by agents. Okay, the CEO or whatever. Okay, so that is agency codes. Actually, in this case, when I was reading this case, I was thinking about some agency codes too. Okay, all right. So let's move on the next question. Okay. Did Lens End make the right choice in the selecting her for the CEO position? Okay, why not? Okay, what is your perspective? Okay, please go ahead. Was it right choice? Was it right?
I kind of thought it wasn't the right decision just because I feel like I looked her up and she's from like Rome, Italy, and just like from her just previous experiences and what she's in now, I just feel like the company wasn't exactly aligned with what her interests were, and then kind of what Folsom said earlier and how like she didn't really integrate well with it, and so I don't think they did a good job of like finding someone to fit those qualities that their company had.
All right, thank you, Bryce. In the end, the transition was not so successful, right? So as Bryce pointed out that, okay? So it was not so successful. And her personality, her behavior were a little, problematic to make it a change successful. Okay? So that's Bryce's point. All right, thank you so much. And any other comments? Is it right choice or not? Why not? Okay, Tanner, go ahead.
I agree with Bryce. I think that she was an expert. I just don't think she was an expert in the right type of industry that Land's End was. I think she was more of an expert on the higher end of the industry, and this was more of like like a middle class company. So I think that they might have been better suited finding like someone from a competitor or a similar type of company that might have worked out a little bit better.
All right, great. Okay, good point. Okay, so it cannot be a right choice, but anyway, actually, Lance and wanted to have a change. All right, change, but that transition was not so successful. All right, not so successful. Actually, they had Miss McKinney too. They had no appropriate strategy to change it because change is very difficult. All right, okay? It has internal inertia always. Okay? So actually, change is very difficult thing, but and they didn't have enough better plan, long-term, short-term plans. Actually, they didn't have it, so there was a problem too. So that is why we are talking about strategy. Okay. Any other comment on this question? Any other comment? All right, no more. Then can move. Okay, so let's move. All right, good discussions. Okay, so chapter 1 is about the strategy management, right? Strategy management. So we talked about this 3 components, elements, okay? Analysis, decisions, and actions. Oh, once again, all right? My lecture will be very simple, okay? Very simple. So I'm not gonna cover all the topics in chapter 1, all right? Okay. I just want to emphasize some points, okay? Some points, and that's it. That's the purpose of my lecture. But this, the PowerPoint slides will be available on Canvas, okay? So don't worry, right? So we talked about these 3 elements in our Chrono case. Okay? So analysis, decision, actions. Analysis is all about environments, external, internal environments. We are going to talk about chapter 2 and 3. Okay? And decisions, the formulation of strategy. We talked about 3 levels of strategy in the Warner case, right? This is this one, formulation. And actions, this is implementation of strategy. Okay? implementation of strategy cannot be easily generalized. Okay, that is very fun strategy. So I'm gonna do this practice with our simulations. Okay, your simulations. Okay? So at this point, I just once again emphasize you start the simulation as soon as possible. Okay. All right. Then 2 fundamental questions in strategy management: competitive advantage. Okay, how to create it. All right, that is fundamental. I want to do better than others. How? All right, this is question. All right. Then to answer these questions, many researchers are talking about the way. Okay. Then this is one of the way. We will talk about this in the following chapters. Okay? And key attributes. So we talk about goals, objectives, and stakeholders. Everyone can be a stakeholder. And short-term, long-term plan. All right, short-term, long-term plan, and efficiency, effectiveness. Okay. All right. Then short-term and long-term. We talk about that. All right. Short-term efficiency, long-term effectiveness. Managers should balance this, both. Okay. So managers need to be ambidextrous. Okay. Rather than focusing on either one of these. Okay. All right, this is we already talked about too. All right, so our strategy. All right, at the original point, we have intended strategy, and 1 step forward, and then environments are changing, so emergent strategy can be, occurs. Then actually realize the strategy is combination of this and this. Okay, so this diagram shows strategy is dynamic. All right, strategy is dynamic. Strategy is changing. Okay? Change. It's not static. Okay, so you will practice this dynamics of strategy in your simulation too. All right, so think about that. You have 7 rounds of simulations. Okay, so the first round you make your own decisions. Okay, and then you have your own result. Based on this result, okay, you need to think about your strategy again. Okay? If your strategy is working very well, then you can keep it, right? But if it doesn't work very well, what are you gonna do? You wanna change it, right? You wanna change it. So strategy is not static; it's dynamic. Okay, it's always changing because our environments are changing. All right, so we talked about already vision, mission, strategy, objectives, and we are going to talk about environments in the following chapters. Okay, and 3 levels of strategy: functional, business, corporate level strategy. Right? Some people say it's international level, but international level, actually every corporations are international companies these days. So it is not, the what. It is not easy to find what a non-international letter. So, all right, we want to talk about this too. Okay. All right, then implementation strategy. I'm not gonna cover this with textbook, but we will do simulations. And then corporate governance. Okay. The relationship among various participants. Who are these participants? Stakeholders. Okay, stakeholders. So strategy management, some people say strategy management is balancing between stakeholders. This is a stakeholders management perspective. Okay. So stakeholders management, board of directors, all of these are stakeholders. Okay. So think about Berry College, okay, our school, right? Then there are many stakeholders, students, professors, staffs, and the communities, governments, and neighbors and suppliers. Many stakeholders. So you should, as a manager, harmonize the interest of these stakeholders. Okay? Then your organization have the better competitive advantage. Okay. So, two views on stakeholder management. So, stakeholders is a zero-sum game or symbiosis. Okay? So, stakeholders compete against each other, or just they help to create some complementary. All right. So, actually, symbiosis perspective is much better. Okay, much better. Many people support this. Okay. All right. So, actually, stakeholders receive mutual benefits. Okay? And social responsibility. Yeah. So corporations, organizations are getting bigger and bigger and more influence to the society. So social responsibility is very simple, the expectation that business or individuals will strive to improve the overall welfare of society. All right. So comparative advantage, all right, doing better than others. This concept includes social responsibility too. Okay? So comparative advantage actually contains many dimensions of performance of corporations, your organization. All right. So social responsibility too. Okay. Vision, mission, statement, and strategic objective. We talked about that. All right. So vision is more general, and strategic objectives are more specific. Vision is more long-term, and strategic objectives are short-term. Okay. So we clarified these differences already. Okay? So I'm not gonna replicate this. If you have a chance, please look at the values. Okay? Okay? The value, our own organization, value, vision, mission, statement. Okay? So a couple of years ago, actually we changed this. Okay? And a couple of years ago, I was invited to, rework on this very vision and mission. And then the many people actually are confused about vision and mission. Right? Many people. So many people are just interchangeably use these two words, vision and mission. Okay? Vision, where we will be. Mission, where we are. Okay. All right. Then don't confuse it. All right. This is pretty much about. This is my Chinese calligraphy. This is pretty much about chapter 1. All right, chapter 1. So, we're done chapter 1. All right. So, our class is going something like this. Okay. So, as we did, okay, the first thing you read the chapter in advance, then you submit, okay, the chapter case, okay, before the class, and during the class we start with the warm keys. And then we discuss some important topics in the class, okay, in the chapter. All right. Then we are gonna do some class activities. It can be your chapter case. It can be other activities. Okay. And also, then we are gonna sum up. Our discussions, and also we are gonna sum up, the points. Okay. We are gonna sum up the points in the textbooks with my lecture. That's it. Right? This is how we will cover each chapter. Okay? All right. Any question, comments at this point? Any question, comment? Okay. I just want to make sure. Please say no if you don't have any question, comments on chapter 1. Then we can move. All right, great. We can move to chapter 2. All right? So, I want to move to chapter 2. All right, where's chapter 2? Okay. Okay, chapter 2. All right, chapter 2. Okay, so this is 1225. Okay. All right, chapter 2 is about external environment. We talked about that, right? Okay. So chapter 1 is comparative advantage. Okay. Chapter 2 is about external environment, and chapter 3 is about internal environments. So we are going to talk about environments of the firm, of the organization. Okay. So first thing, external and internal. All right. So how do you distinguish external and internal? It can be an interesting question. How do you distinguish external and internal? Okay. We want to talk about we want to talk about environmental firm. Okay. And this textbook distinguishes between external and internal environments. Okay. Any idea? How do you distinguish external and internal?
Internal are like the things you can control, and external are the things you can't.
Wow. It's a perfect answer. Okay, based on the textbook. Okay, it's a perfect textbook answer. So, internal environments, external environments. Okay, it's like depends on your control, the capability of controlling. Okay, so external environments cannot be controlled. Internal environments you can control. Okay, you can control. Okay? In many cases, because these are abstract concepts. Many cases, it's not easy to clearly distinguish this is internal, external. Okay, but okay, generally speaking, okay, in our business perspective, strategy perspective, if you control, we say this is internal. Okay? If you cannot control, if you should accept it, then it is external environments. Okay, all right. There are some other typology. Okay, other typology of the environments, but we are gonna talk about that. Okay, we are gonna talk about that. Okay, so in chapter two, okay, we will talk about external environments, how to identify, how to characterize our external environments. Okay, there are some techniques. Okay, a couple of techniques I'm gonna present in this topic, and then that's it. Okay, very simple topic. Not simple to implement it. Okay, but it's conceptually it's very simple. Okay, conceptually simple, but actually it's not easy to do this actually. Okay, all right, let's move. Hey, so with chapter 2, right, caption simulation. Once again, I emphasize this. Okay, please start it as soon as possible. Okay, this is not an easy game. You need to take some time. Okay, I want to make your schedule. Okay, we are exactly on the schedule on my syllabus. Okay, so if you have any problem, if you have any confusion with the schedule, please look at the syllabus. Okay? So we have first exam. Okay, and Friday. Okay, it's a next week Friday, I guess. Okay, all right, next week Friday. And presentation 1. The first presentation will be Wednesday, so in the following week, February 15th. All right, these are exactly same as the schedule on the syllabus. Okay, and presentation 1. Okay, presentation 1. So will be very straightforward. Okay, so presentation 1, just find a real case, real company, real organization, real whatever. Okay, whatever organizations. Okay, it can be very college, it can be any company, it can be any social organizations, something like that. Then you research what strategy a corporation used and how the performance was. Okay, then you share with your teammates. Okay, you share with your teammates. Okay, you say Monday. Okay, let me make sure. Oh yeah, February. Yes, it's Monday. I'm sorry. So this is Monday, right? This is Monday. Okay. All right. Presentation 1 is Monday. I'm sorry about that. Okay. So presentation 1 will be very straightforward. Okay. Decide any organization, and you research what strategy that organization used, and then how the performance was. It can be successful, it can be not successful. It doesn't matter. All right. Then your team will present it, okay? And your audience are the classmates. will evaluate okay, your presentations. Okay? Okay, not just me, I'm just one of your audience. Okay, so probably your presentation will be, because we have 5 teams. Okay. 5 to 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes each. Okay, so it's not long presentation. It's very simple, concise. It should be brief and concise presentations. Okay, so my suggestion is that what your audience will be interested in. Okay? Then you need to think about this. Your audience, because you are presenting for your audience. So what your audience will be interested in, what they want to hear, something like that. Then you have a better performance, I guess. All right. And anything else? Any other question?
I have a question.
All right, Seth.
For the presentation, do we pick our groups or are we using the same assigned groups?
Yeah, you already have a group, right? Your team. So
Okay.
It's a teamwork. Huh? It's teamwork. Any other question? Hey, Tanner is typing. Tanner has a question, right? So we just need more. Yes, this is teamwork. Okay, so your team will present it. Your team will present it. Okay, not individual. Okay. Only exam will be individual. Only exam will be individual. Other activities are team-based works. Okay, so no individual work except for exams. Okay, so in the business, there's no individual work. Okay? Business will be always done by team, company, organization. Okay, all right. Any other question? Okay, then let's move. All right, this is distribution of Warner keys. Average is out of 8. Average is 7.21. Nice. That's great. Okay, great. Standard deviation is pretty narrow. So I love this distribution. All right. So please keep it. All right. So keep up the good work. Okay? All right. Then let's start. Chapter 2 Warner keys. Then now I publish chapter 2, and I'm gonna give you 10 minutes again. So this is 12:34 right now, so due will be 12:44. 12:44. So please go ahead on Canvas, and then you will find the keys, chapter 2 Warner keys. So if you have any problem with it, please let me know. So Tyler, did you find the Warner keys? Yes, okay, great. Thank you, Tyler. So it's 10 minutes. So I'm gonna mute my microphone for you. But if you have any problem, let me know. All right, so many people are done. Okay, so anyone needs more time? Okay, please let me know if you need more time. Okay, all right. I think we are ready to go forward. So, anyone needs more time? Just let me know. I can wait. All right. And if not, okay. Please, let's talk about the warranties. Okay. All right. Number one. Scenario planning is useful for anticipating major future changes in external environment. True or false? It's a little tricky, this question. That's true. Okay. All right. Any false? Any false? Number one, scenario planning. No. Okay. What is the scenario planning? Okay. First one is typing. Okay. First one is true too. Okay. All right. Scenario planning. Okay. Scenario planning. What is that? Scenario planning. Anyone? Scenario planning. What is that? What is the scenario planning?
Isn't it like to make long-term plans? Like you're trying to, like in the case of a scenario, then you would do like certain situations, kind of.
Yeah. Simply speaking, scenario planning is if A happens, you will do B. If C happens, you will do D. Something like that. Okay. So this is a scenario planning. So you have your own scenarios. Okay? There are some outcomes. Okay, A, B, C, something like that. Okay? If A happens, you will do this. B happens, you will do this. C happens, you will do this. Something like that. This is a plan. Okay. So this is useful for anticipating major future changes in the external environment. It can be, in my perspective, it can be true, okay? Because you need to think about the future changes, right? Okay, future outcomes. Okay? But some people says, it's not true because scenario planning is not anticipating the changes. Actually, it can have an outcomes. It can have some outcomes, possible outcomes. Then okay, future plans. Okay. That's why some people say scenario planning is not useful for anticipating major future changes. Okay, all right. But in my perspective, actually, scenario planning. If you are doing scenario planning, actually, you need to think about future changes. Okay? Then, in that sense, okay, it is useful for anticipating major future changes. Okay, so the answer is true, all right? But some people say it's not true too, all right? So you understand what I'm saying? My point? Okay, all right. So I just want to point out this. Okay? So number one, it's done. It's true. Number two, if companies, Colby has a, okay. Number two, if companies miscalculate the market, opportunities will be lost. True or false? All right, Colby says it's false. Okay, and True. Okay. You change it. Number 2. True or false? True. Okay. True. Okay. All right. Anyone else? If companies miscalculate the market, opportunities will be lost. Is it true or false? Yeah, it's true. It's very obvious, right? If you miscalculate the market, what happens? You don't have any more market, all right? You don't have any more market. You will practice this. You will practice this in the simulation, all right? Your simulations. In the simulation, your important job is that should be, okay, the calculate the market, all right? Calculate the market, depending on some, the assets, okay? So if you miscalculate the market, opportunities will be lost. Yes, it's pretty obvious. Okay? So, all right. So it's almost time is over. So I'm gonna stop here. So for the next time on Friday, we're gonna continue. We're gonna continue chapter 2. Okay, we're gonna continue warmer keys and the following things. Okay, in chapter 2. Okay, so we will start. We will start from number 3. Okay. So good. Okay, so you are getting better for this class. Okay, so you are getting familiar with this, the design of this class. I love it. Your learning curve. Okay, so any other question, comment? Please say no if you don't. All right, great, good. All right, I see you on Friday. Okay. Thank you guys. Great discussions. Okay, I'll see you on Friday.